Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Ads. I'm Joey Troxel.
And I'm Tim Troxel.
So, today's video, first let's thank our sponsors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not our sponsors, but first let's thank our, we do have sponsors, but not today. Let's thank our financial supporters, Patreon and PayPal, and people who leave money in the comments. Thanks for doing that. Without you, the show would not exist. If you thought how you can help, how can I be part of this, you can make a financial donation. There's a link below to Patreon and PayPal. And then there is some like, not private videos like we're clothes, but there is some special content for those people too that we don't put on YouTube.
Yeah, and out to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes.
So,
the inspiration of today's video.
Yes, please. Okay, so Lex went to college, and I guess before his math class, they give food away.
Yes.
And what did I just say?
No, it's just I'm having getting it. I'm struggling every day, but yes.
So Lex brings home what he thinks that we eat, and so he bought like 3 cauliflower heads.
Yeah, it's
a bag full of tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes, cabbage, oranges. Yeah, it's one of those things where food's going, like produce is going to go bad, so they bring it to the college, and the kids can just take it home, right, for free.
So we have all this cauliflower. We're like, what can we do with this?
Well, first, we came home and Lex had brought food home, and I was like, I thought Tim went grocery shopping before he went to work. That's never happened. Lex has never thought of anyone but himself, right? So it's nice to see that he was like, oh, here's some of the stuff we use. Let's bring it home, right? Yeah. So that was really nice. So we had all this cauliflower. So we decided we were gonna make a cauliflower casserole, right?
Yeah, this casserole is absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
To go with that, then we thought we'd just put like a tofu steak.
Yeah.
And again, a different take on that because there's so many that are Asian based, which is high sodium. We hear you in the comments.
Yeah.
Barbecue, bold flavors, right? Which these potatoes can, or these this cauliflower dish can handle.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're kind of went with a Middle Eastern flair, oil free, just actually really tasty.
It actually fits inside the starch solution requirement, but don't tell anyone. But it is a high protein meal. So
kind of crazy, but this is absolutely delicious. This is gonna be on our list when my mom comes to visit.
And we're using the fava bean tofu, which is really high in protein. So we're going to show you today a 400 calorie meal, less than 400 calories, with over 40 grams of protein.
Love that.
And it's a nice big meal. It's a tofu steak or sliced like Hasselback tofu, right? Yep. With an amazing cauliflower casserole and cashew cheese sauce.
This is one you want to try.
Let's get to it. Our marinated tofu with cauliflower casserole comes in at 375 calories, 41 grams of protein, and 9 grams of fat. It's the perfect large meal to satisfy any plant-based appetite. Let's get started. All right, so we're starting off our 400 calorie meal here with the side dish, which is going to be a cauliflower bake. Tim, tell us what you're doing.
Okay, starting with 1 cauliflower. Just trying to remove the stem here. One way to do that is cutting this in half. Makes it much easier to kind of go in as a wedge. I don't know why before I would try to do the thing as a whole. But yeah, this is definitely worth the effort. Okay, so that can be used for stock, compost. All right, so I'm gonna break these up into florets like this. I'm gonna put it in a colander and then we're gonna wash that and then we'll weigh it just to give us a estimate so we can portion this out and be successful. One thing when you make food at home, you can adjust this to your bite size. So you can control that. You saw me just quite a quarter this up. Cut some of the stem off. This one looks like it could just be half. Perfect.
All right, so at this point, we're just gonna take it over the sink and wash it, right? So that's a head of cauliflower right there, ready to go.
All right, with cold water, I'm running this under. I saw when I was cutting it. I mean, it looked from the outside pretty clean. I want to get that good rinse. Probably transported it halfway across the country, right?
All right, Tim, so what do we got here? Just a pot of water?
Yeah, I filled about 2/3 full because we've got all that cauliflower going in here.
All right.
Yep.
And we're just going to kind of bring it to a boil and dump the cauliflower in.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, this looks like boiling water to me. We've got a lot of movement.
All right.
So it's time to load in our cauliflower. Now, we're adding this in, and we're going to boil it till it becomes soft, which I would probably start checking around 9 minutes, 10 minutes.
So we just want it to be fork tender.
Exactly, fork tender.
All right, so about 10 minutes, we'll let it boil and we'll see what happens. All right, Tim, what are we doing next?
Well, we've just drained our cauliflower, right? So that's going to set off to the side, kind of cool off. So now we're going to work on the sauce part. My favorite part.
We're just making a cashew cheese sauce.
Yes, and this sauce is very much like what we make for Lex, for pretzel bites, things like that. There's refried bean burritos.
We're just leaving out the peppers.
The peppers, yep.
All right, so what are we going to start with?
All right, we're going to get started with cashews.
1 cup of cashews?
This is 1 cup.
Now, if you don't have a Vitamix or high-speed blender, you're going to have to soak the cashews for 2 hours in boiling water, right?
Exactly. You don't, and I think people say overnight, but no, in boiling water overnight, they turn color. It's just
not
so
pretty. What are we adding next here?
So next, 3rd cup of nooch.
Nooch, nutritional yeast. All right.
Okay.
And then tell me about the spices we have here.
All right, we've got a splice blend here of paprika, granulated onion.
One of those.
Yes, and then garlic is the more yellowish.
Yeah. So we've got 1.5 tablespoons of the garlic and the onion each.
Correct.
And then a teaspoon of paprika.
That is correct.
All right.
All right, our final spice for this mixture is going to be 1 teaspoon of salt.
If you use broth instead of water, then don't use the salt, but we're not using broth, so we're going to use the salt.
Yes, so you have that option of broth. We're going to use water. This is what we do in our other cheese sauce as well. So again, that was 2 cups water.
Yep, 2 cups of water.
Yep, we are ready now to blend this.
All right, so we're just going to bring it over to, we don't need to drag the base of the Vitamix here. We just blend it and we'll show it to you.
All right, like any chef, you want to taste before, as you go through. All right, that tastes really good. That paprika really does help. Let's add the cauliflower to our baking dish.
All right, let's move it around here. Hang on a second. Do you think this dish is big enough? Because it's got to fit all of that stuff in there.
Yep.
All right, hang on.
A lot of airspace here.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to go along the edges, make sure we get everything covered nicely.
Just dump it all in, and then we'll move the cauliflower around to get it under it. We'll do a little of this to mix this up here. All right, so here's the cauliflower and the cheese sauce. We're ready to throw this in the oven. You could add like something on top of it if you want.
I think you could add some like panko breadcrumbs.
I don't think we're going to, because we want it to be a under 400 calorie meal with the entree. But at this point, you could make it your own, right?
Yep.
And we would be perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this in the oven, and we'll put it in 390 for about 30 minutes. We'll check it about 20 and make sure it's not burning. And when it starts to kind of brown and golden up, it'll be ready to go.
Okay, so 390.
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
All right,
okay.
let's do it. Next, we're going to start on the tofu. We're going to use this soy-free tofu. It's fava bean tofu. It's 64 grams of protein for the whole box. The whole box is like 280 calories. Like, you can't beat this. It's amazing. We're going to get 2 servings out of this, so we'll split it in half. So it's going to be about 32 grams of protein each, plus what's in the cauliflower, and we'll show you at the end. But we absolutely love this stuff.
Yep, and we're gonna do a quick marinade on this.
Yep.
That you may not have seen or tasted before.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
We're gonna show you how to do it. Let's go. All right, so this is how I press tofu. I just take out a rag like this, and it's an old rag. I know it looks dirty, but it's been washed a million times.
It's through a sanitized cycle.
Very much so. And these things don't have a lot of water in them to start with. They're pressed really good as it is. So what happened here, I'm just going to pop this out, and I'll show you what I do here.
So I bought Joey a tofu press, etc.
I don't like using
this
it.
really, we keep coming back to this method.
Yeah. So I just take it right here, and I put it on the edge of the towel, right? The towel's like a few layers thick, and then I roll it like this, and I just take the top of a cast iron pot, and I pop it on top. I let it sit there for a few minutes, and really that's all I do with it. And then I'll roll it again and let it drain again. There's not a lot of water in this, so it's not going to take very long. And after it's had some time to soak this up and this is all wet, I just take it on the other end of the towel, and you can just continue here, but I take it on the other end of the towel, and I roll it over once here, I do the same thing. And then after that, it's ready to do its thing.
All right, while we're getting rid of the moisture here, let's get started on our marinade for the tofu steaks.
Sounds good. All right, Tim, so on the marinade you're making here, you've got something here. What is this?
Okay, so we've got lemon juice.
All right, so how much lemon juice?
We need 2 tablespoons.
Yep, so let's pop that in there.
Okay.
That's about 2 tablespoons. Let's pop it in.
All right, perfect.
Next, we need a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. So you're putting in 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. All right, and then next we're gonna need 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. All right, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, there you go. And we'll start with our spices next.
Okay, Joey, I'm gonna throw a curveball here. I'm gonna add some blueberries here.
Blueberries?
Yes, to kind of counter the lemon a little bit.
Okay.
So we're gonna I'm gonna mash these up.
So this is gonna be quite the tofu here.
Yeah, this is a great alternative. Often we see a teriyaki sauce, but again, we heard you in the comments talk about so much salt. So this is one way we're gonna counter that or add a new flavor profile here.
So let's start with the spices. We're gonna do some cumin first. So let's grab that.
Half a teaspoon of cumin.
All right, so what do you got going in there?
Half a teaspoon of coriander.
All right, so what's that?
This is smoked paprika.
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon.
So all the spices are half a teaspoon.
Perfect.
And now what do you got?
Scillion cinnamon.
1/2 a teaspoon.
We've got onion powder.
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon.
And of course, no civilized person could use a half a teaspoon with onion powder without a half a teaspoon of
Garlic.
All right, there you go with the spices.
If you have sumac spice, you can use that, but otherwise I'm going to use some lemon zest. That's a teaspoon as well.
All right, so now what do we do?
Time to whisk this up and start marrying these flavors.
All right, so we're just making a marinade to pour over the tofu, right?
Yep.
And it smells pretty good, don't you think? We're trying to do this instead of like a salty tofu, instead of a salty teriyaki, right?
Yeah.
So we just kind of give you like an option that you could totally pour teriyaki over this, right?
Absolutely, teriyaki works. But
Yeah.
some of you, it's got sugar in it too much, or it's too much salt. So this is kind of a Middle Eastern take.
Well, I'm going to point out that there's some big blueberries in there. So.
Yeah. Again, this is a marinade.
All right.
So it's going over the tofu. It's not.
So nothing to worry about,
Yeah,
right?
it's nothing to worry about.
Go big or go home. All right, so what's going to happen next? We're going to set the tofu up?
We're gonna set the tofu up.
All right.
Let's let this marinate or marry a little bit more.
All right.
In the meantime, it's time to cut the tofu. All right, so we're doing this for service of 2. The first thing I want to do is cut this block in half. Voila.
All right, probably don't want them to be too thin.
We want it thin.
Oh, you do? All right.
Yeah. All right. So now we can get marinated into all those slices, and it's held together, so it'll still be a steak presentation. Okay, let's get a little dish, and we'll put these in. So we have our 2 steaks cut differently. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, I got our marinade with a little brush so we can get in those cracks.
So we're just going to kind of get it all in there.
Yeah.
We're not so much worrying about it cooking in this. We just want it to get in there and marinate, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we're just going to brush it all in there. We want to make sure we get it in between all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So for right now, just wanted to get it basically covered. Now I can go in each slice and get in there.
Let's get the sides and all that too.
Yeah.
I'm so bossy.
So when we do this naturally, it's covering the bottom, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, you could just pour it over the top and all that, but we really want it to get in between and soak in and all that stuff, right? We really want the tofu to be marinated.
Yeah, we'll pour the remaining in here once we've done this part for sure. Okay.
All right, Tim, so we're throwing the rest of the marinade on, and how long are we going to let this marinate before we throw it in the oven?
Well, so minimum of 15 minutes.
Okay.
But this is something you can do overnight.
Okay.
So if you're planning guests to come over, what we're making today fits the bill for them.
All right, so we're going to let this marinate for minimum 15 minutes, probably about 30, and we're going to toss this in the oven at 350 degrees, let it cook for about 30 minutes, right?
Correct. Okay.
All right, so we'll do that, and we'll see you after that.
Yes.
All right, so we filmed what we just did here, took it out of the oven and put some toppings on it, but of course, the camera wasn't on. So what did we just do here?
You know, this flavor, it almost is like a potato, right? So
Yeah.
ground pepper goes really well with
So you
this.
can see here we sprinkled a bunch of pepper
Yes,
on it.
and then I had some freeze-dried chives.
Yeah.
We just sprinkled that on.
Yeah, so we just did that, and I already tasted it. It was delicious. You want to taste it?
Yes.
All right. It's absolutely delicious. I mean, it looks like an entree, right? It's only the side dish. All right, what do you think? It's amazing, right?
Yes. This is really good. This is exactly how I envisioned this going to that cheesiness with this.
Yeah, it's such like a traditional casserole.
Because some people, like, you don't really like cauliflower.
No,
so
I don't, and it's delicious.
This is delicious.
Yeah.
I love that you can bake this ahead.
Yeah.
If you're having people come over, we made this great vegan dish.
All right, so we're going to pop this aside for now because we're waiting for the tofu to come out,
Yes,
and then we'll plate it all up together.
Yep. We're waiting for our protein. We'll be right back.
Okay, so what we've done is we've taken a half of the tofu block, so one portion because it makes two,
Yep.
and we've popped it on. There's just some wilted spinach right here, right?
Yeah,
just
I just
give it a little green.
steamed some spinach.
Yeah.
Little iron.
Yeah, and we're going to take a portion of the cauliflower makes 6 servings, so we're going to take one of the 6 servings and put it right here next to this.
Look at that cheesy goodness.
Holy smoke, that looks delicious.
Who said vegans are suffering?
Well, protein and iron deficiency right here. All right, and we're going to go over the macros, speaking of that, but this looks delicious, right? Now, this is one portion, right?
Yeah.
So it's a sixth of the cauliflower and a half of the block of tofu. So
But you said per serving, there's 9 grams of protein in the cauliflower.
Yeah, we're gonna go over all the macros for the whole thing in a minute here, but let's give this a shot here. I can't wait to taste this tofu.
Be careful, you can see the steam coming out of
Yeah,
there.
it's very hot. Oh wow! Oh, you do have a slight blueberry taste to it. You're right about that. It's really good. Oh wow, this is absolutely delicious.
Okay.
Holy smoke!
When my parents come,
Uh-huh.
we need to make this.
Wow.
This is something for the holidays.
Yeah.
We've got Easter coming up, right?
Absolutely delicious.
Wow.
All right.
So, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
I talked about wanting to show a different marinade, a different style of cooking a tofu
Yeah.
steak. So often, like I said earlier, we see these grilled or pan fried or air fried.
Yeah.
Not baked so much. And then this is a light,
Yeah.
low sodium version on instead of smoked or barbecue or
It is-
Asian. Yep.
It's very light. You could easily throw in some teriyaki sauce or hoisin sauce or whatever and really made it like a thick kind of saucy sauce with a lot of sugar and a lot of salt. We didn't do that, all right? All right, well, you and I are going to eat this up. Let's cut to the macros and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Thanks for being on board with this.
Oh, yeah.
This is so good.
It's absolutely delicious. All right, let's do the macros. All right, so that was absolutely amazing. I got to tell you, that casserole, so good,
It's
right?
so good.
I'm going to put the numbers on the screen here. We'll just look at them real quick,
Okay.
all right? So you can see here, all the ingredients are listed there. 100 calories of this. By the way, whenever you see what the name of it right there, this one's called Joey Troxel Protein Hasselback Tofu. Whenever you see that, this is just for the tofu. That's the name in Cronometer, so that's what you want to use in Cronometer for friends if you're adding this, all right? Just for the tofu here, you can see we've got the fava bean tofu right there on the top. Here's all the ingredients, and just adding the maple syrup adds 100 calories to the whole dish, 50 calories each. If you use that low-calorie maple syrup or that zero-calorie stuff, it'll taste crappier, but you would say 50 calories each, right?
Yeah, we went with the whole food version of the maple syrup. So
As you can see here on the screen, the tofu alone is 210 calories per serving, and there's 2 servings, so the whole thing was 420 calories. But each serving, 210 calories. It's got 32 grams of protein, 32.4 just for the tofu. The fat is at about 0.2 grams. It's nice because it's not soy, so there's almost no fat, and the carbohydrates about 17.5. So kind of a really nice dish by itself.
yes. Do you have the macros for the?
Yeah, so let's go over the macros for the cauliflower. So Tim, on the screen they can see the cauliflower bake, including all the stuff for the cashews and all that. So all the ingredients are listed there. The bulk of the calories, of course, do come from the cashews because they're higher in calories. So a big chunk are right there. This is called, in Cronometer, Joey Troxel Cauliflower Bake. If you look at the macros here, it's 1 serving, and the cauliflower makes 6 servings. So each serving is 164.6, so about 165 calories. There is some fat in it because of the cashews, so about 9 grams of fat. You've got about 15 carbohydrates and 8 grams of protein, 8.5. I would say that's 9, right?
Yes.
So 2 things about here. First, if you add both of them together, right?
Yes.
This dish together, the side and the entree, it's 375 calories. So the whole thing, it's a nice plate of food, right? 375, 41 grams of protein. So we're in that 440. So we're under 400 calories and over 40 grams of protein.
Yep.
33 total carbs and 9 grams of fat. But here's the interesting thing. If you look at some of the vitamins we get, remember, this is just one meal. We got almost 300% of B1, of B2, right? We got way over 100% of B3. We got 244% of our B6 and our B12. That is amazing from one meal.
It is.
Right?
I'm surprised by the amount of protein as well in that cauliflower dish. And, you know, we could have increased the protein on that cauliflower dish if we added unflavored protein powder.
We didn't need to.
We didn't need to.
We could absolutely have bumped the protein up, but together, 40 grams of protein for that meal, and considering that big chunk of cauliflower you have in there, it's nice because all of that stuff is, starch solution compatible, even though we're not doing the starch solution. But
it just means it's clean.
All right, so an amazing opportunity, kind of a throwback to what we were doing before, but, the fact that it's made of the fava bean tofu means you don't have all that fat from it, and you're getting all those other nutrients. Now, of course, you don't get the calcium like you get from soy and all that.
But just remember, you have all the freedom you want on your tofu if you wanted barbecue and bold.
Yeah.
If you wanted Asian. But we showed an alternative today that was lower in sodium, which some of you guys have been asking for. So, and then I think if you have calories in your day, I mean, you can go with 2 servings of that cauliflower dish and absolutely enjoy life. So
yeah, you can do the whole thing. You can do double it and have 80 grams of protein for 600 and 700 calories. And that's still a great deal.
All right. Well, before we close up today, I do want to give a special thanks to Deanne out there.
It's lemon season again.
The lemons are back.
Right.
And look how huge these are, for example. Anyway, that's my job today, is to juice them later and get them frozen into ice cubes.
And I've got one other job. I haven't really been able to do much about this, but today, the day we're filming this is March 8th, and it is Tim's birthday. Happy birthday, Tim.
I've been avoiding this day for all year. Okay, but here it is.
Okay, you've been planning it
here
for
it
us.
is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've not been feeling well. We haven't been able to do much because I'm barely mobile. Luckily, we got this week off from work. I do anyway because it's spring break. I'm hoping to recuperate. But, Tim, I love you very much.
Yeah.
The audience loves you. And happy 56, right? All right, guys, that's our episode for today. Hit that like button, show us some love, click on that subscribe button, click on that bell, you get notified every time we have a new video. Usually every Tuesday, leave a comment below. What do you think? Do you like these 400 calorie high protein meals? I absolutely love them. It's a good option.
Yeah, I really hope today inspires you.
I hope to do. We'll see you next
Take
time.
care.
Bye-bye.